Good morning, Pam. Hello, Lee. Good morning, Lee. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
Brian, good morning.
Not me.
Nabil, good morning. Carl, good morning. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Eric.
Cade, good morning.
Good morning, Eric. Happy Friday.
Oh, happy Fridays are going around.
It's contagious.
It is. Maybe to spill over into the weekend. Steve, good morning.
Morning, Eric.
Good morning. I'm willing to say that's Butch, right?
No, it's Henry. Henry, that's who this is.
Henry.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, you are correct.
Good morning, Kelly.
So, hey, Eric, when
Yes,
does the live meeting start? Next
Ah,
month?
good. Patience, my friend, patience.
I thought it was June, but
Well, I'll get around. I'm going to make an announcement on
Okay.
that when I get to my
Hold-
speaking points.
hold the surprise then.
Elisa, good morning. Good morning, Rakenya.
Good morning.
So, Mr. Chairman, my smartphone says 8:30. Your call, if you'd like to proceed, and or if you want to hold off a minute or so.
I say that we go ahead and proceed. So welcome, everybody. Good morning and welcome to this virtual MetroPlan Orlando TSMO meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. My name is Doug Jamison. I will be chairing the meeting today. We also have a team of folks working to ensure that this meeting runs smoothly. Today's meeting was advertised on MetroPlan Orlando's website and social media, as well as through targeted emails. Florida's Sunshine Law requires a quorum to be physically present in a room for government meetings, but Governor DeSantis had suspended that requirement in an executive order allowing the government boards to conduct business using virtual meetings. The order expired on October 31st, so this meeting is being held in a workshop format. Staff will explain what this means in just a moment. We will keep our microphones muted unless you have been recognized to speak, and we'll also use the raise hands feature to participate in the discussion. There are 2 public comment points in the meeting. Members of the public who want to speak will use the raise hand feature found in the participant tab. If you're attending by phone, you can hit *9 to raise your hand and request to be recognized. When you are called, your microphone will be temporarily unmuted by staff, and we will ask you to state your name and contact information for the record. We have also accepted comments by email and phone message before the meeting. The guidelines for public comment are posted at metroplanorlando.org/virtual meetings. We want this and all future online meetings to be accessible to all. Participants may join by computer, tablet, or phone. If you need accommodation to participate in the future, please contact MetroPlan Orlando. Would also like to update the committee that at the June 9th MetroPlan Orlando board meeting, we learned that the board's $100,000 request for the Best Foot Forward program, which was approved by the legislator, was vetoed from the budget by Governor DeSantis. Also at the meeting, FDOT leadership provided more details on the new District 5 Safety Office, which plans to concentrate on better coordination of existing safety efforts, especially on influencing the behavior changes. They also discussed the efforts to get the projects ready so that the district can take advantage of funds coming from the stimulus initiative. At this time, I would like to recognize Eric Hill of MetroPlan Orlando staff for the agenda review. Eric?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to TSMO committee members. It's great to see you on this happy Friday. I want to thank everyone that has been patient and kind and true troopers over the last year as we have participated in these virtual meetings. We've done, I think, a fabulous job in accommodating everyone and making sure that our work gets done. But all great things or all good things come to an end. So we will be transitioning back to in-person meetings beginning in August, and those meetings will be back at our office. And as far as TSMO meeting goes, our next meeting is August the 27th, so we won't have a meeting in July. So for our meeting in August, we will have a live in-person meeting. As you know, we have not had a quorum for these virtual workshops because we have not officially voted. However, when we resume in-person meetings, we will need a quorum of members in the room to conduct votes. This will also make it very important to RSVP for meetings so that we know if we are in danger of not having a quorum and can prepare for that. Also, as we have not been taking action at our virtual workshops, we will need to ratify TSMO actions taken during that time, which is simply acknowledging the action. And we will have to have officially approved minutes of all the workshops during that time. So as we look forward to our in-person meeting in August, it's important that you respond to the invitation so that we know that you will be here or not. And our board services group will be working with you as we get things ready for that meeting. When we get together in August, there's going to be a couple changes. But first, we still will be able to have the Zoom participation by the public. But we encourage the public to stay virtual as we work through our first few in-person meetings. However, again, you will need to be here at our, I'm saying here, I'm not even in the office, but you will need to be at our office to participate in our meeting in August. For that meeting, we will be observing the CDC guidelines. Anyone that is not vaccinated will need to wear a mask. And if you have been vaccinated, then it's up to you. We give you that leeway. One of the things that will be different at that meeting and perhaps future meetings, as far as we can see right now, is that our little continental breakfast, we're going to put that on hold for now. But we will have coffee, water, soft drinks, as well as tea. And you will know when you get to the boardroom that we made some updates on our equipment in the boardroom. We've made these modifications in response to the pandemic, but as we move forward, we see that it's been an improvement, so we're going to stay with it. Um, the board meetings, at the board meetings, they've been using the equipment and they've been giving it a good review, as well as our Transportation Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board meetings. So we'll do a little tutorial at our August meeting for you as far as how to operate the new equipment. We held our TIP public meeting on Monday and we set a record for attendance. Several of you attended and we appreciate that. You'll hear from Keith later in the agenda for more about the TIP and our public meeting. You know, as the chairman mentioned, if you have joined us on the phone only, without the video screen, please use the *6 to mute and unmute your line. Please use *9 to raise your virtual hand so the meeting host can see that you want to be recognized. And we also ask you to use the raise hand feature if you want to be recognized as well. You'll see that there's a chat feature on your toolbar that communicates with all panelists in this meeting, which includes committee members, staff, and presenters. Please only use this if you are having technical issues or need assistance. A full record of the chat comments will be included with the public record of this meeting. And then lastly, I just want to give the committee a quick update. We had some discussion on drones over the last few meetings. And at the last one, I mentioned that I've been in coordinating with Cheryl Bradley, who runs the TIM program for District 5. And at one of their meetings, they have talked about the use of drones in the past legislative meeting. A bill was passed that allows law enforcement agencies to use drones for investigations as well as at incidents. But we wanted to see if there's an opportunity for us to join resources to use drones for traffic management issues. And so the bill that passed did not say that you could use it for traffic incident or traffic management concerns, but as was discussed, it didn't say you couldn't. However, what we want to do is a workshop, a joint workshop with the TIM team. Cheryl and I have talked about it, and what we'll do is put together a survey that we send out to the TIM team, and it'll go out to the TSMO members on your interest in drones, in your experience, and what you may need or see as an opportunity here. We initially talked about doing a workshop in July since we don't have a meeting, so we thought that we could use that time, that time that we normally use for TSMO meetings, to have this workshop. And we would like to have it at District 5, at the TMC District 5. Do a little inside or lecture type workshop for the first half of the meeting, and then go outside and do a demonstration with drones. Now, we did also mention or discuss that it could be virtual for those that do not want to travel to the TMC, in which case we could probably also show you the demonstration outside virtually as well. So look forward to one, getting a survey from me on this subject, and then two, an invitation once we decide on a date and time for the workshop. So, Mr. Chairman, that wraps up all my comments. Now, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Goldfarb to do the attendance for this morning's meeting.
Good morning. I'll ask all committee members to please go ahead and unmute yourselves for the roll call, and you can go on mute again after your name is called. Please make sure your video is on if possible, so we can confirm it's you. You'll find the unmute and video buttons on the bottom left side of your toolbar on the bottom of your screen. Please say here or present when your name is called. Al-Salihi?
Here.
Blackadar?
Here.
Rod?
Here.
Brock?
Here.
Cash?
I'm here.
Clem? Elisar? Friel? Gordon? Hammer? Herschelman?
Here.
Palmaguni,
Here.
Jameson,
Here.
Dredge, Kelly,
John is
Here.
Krug, Valori,
Here.
Lee,
Here.
Margraf,
Here.
McDaniel, Muhason,
present.
Fulham,
Here.
Sanders,
Here.
Giranella, Schmidt, Centerends,
Here.
Smith,
Present.
Edie,
Present.
Walter,
Here.
Richmond,
Present.
Wetzel.
Present.
That concludes the roll call.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Clem joined the meeting. I understand she had some challenges with getting in, but she is now with us.
Thank you.
I see her present and we heard you, so thank you. We will now hear public comments on what we normally call action items, but in this format will be our items for review and discussion. Do we have people who would like to speak to any of these items? If so, please use the raise hand function found at the bottom of your screen or by pressing *9 on your phone keypad. When we call your name, the host will unmute your microphone. You will see a pop-up that says that the host wants to unmute you. Accept that prompt to activate your microphone. We ask that you provide your name and address for the record, and please hold your comments to 2 minutes or less. Are there any comments at this time?
Mr. Chairman, we do not have any.
Are there any written comments submitted before the meeting?
None have been submitted, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, and still not seeing any hands. We will go ahead and move on to review and discussion. We have 5 items for review and discussion today. Our first item are the minutes from our last meeting, which are at tab 1 in your agenda packets. Are there any corrections or revisions that need to be brought to staff's attention? Please use raise hands. Giving it just a second. Shad, you're recognized.
Yes, I saw on the minutes, well, I think it was this meeting, maybe it was the TAC. I'm getting confused now. I was trying to get back to them. Was Sergeant Lieutenant McDaniel from Seminole County. It showed him as a voting member absent. I believe he is a non-voting member that was absent. But that, I think he's the
Yeah, it represents
community
CTST.
safety team. Yes,
Right,
CTST
correct.
rep.
Okay, we'll make that correction. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
thank you.
Smith.
Thank you, Shad. Anyone else, please use raise hand. And I am not seeing any. As a reminder, we will be bringing these back for formal approval during our next meeting. Our next item is the emergency FDOT amendment to the fiscal year 2020-21 through 2024-25 TIP that's found in tab 2 of your agendas. Mr. Keith Caskey from MetroPlan Orlando will present the information. Please hold your questions on this item until the presentation is finished. Mr. Caskey, please go ahead.
Okay, well, good morning. This amendment request came up in late May after this committee and most of the other committees had already met. And this had to be amended into the state TIP by a June 10th deadline. So FDOT requested this amendment to be processed on an emergency basis. So our board chairwoman signed the resolution approving this request on May 27th based on MetroPlan's policy for processing emergency TIP amendments. And this request includes moving part of the construction funding for the Cross Seminole Trail Connector project from the existing project number to a new project number so the city of Longwood can provide some staff services for the project under a LAP agreement. And then the other project involved adding FTA grant funds and local matching funds for links to purchase 6 new electric buses for the limo system. And you all have the information on this in tab 2, and the board will be requested to ratify the signed resolution at their July 7th meeting. So any questions on that?
Any questions for Keith? Please raise hands. Any discussion? And we are not seeing any. So our next item is the fiscal year 2021-22 through 2025-26 Transportation Improvement Plan, or TIP, that is found in tab 3 of your agendas. Mr. Keith Caskey will be up again. Well, I have both Keith and Mr. Trogger, but I believe it's Keith from MetroPlan Orlando will present the information. Please hold your questions on this item until the presentation is finished. So please go ahead with the presentation.
Okay, well, I gave you all a preview of the new TIP at the TAC meeting last month, and there is a link to the draft TIP on your agenda, and then some additional information in tab 3. If we could go to the next slide, please. We had our public meeting, a virtual public meeting this past Monday, and had really good attendance. And on the slide there, it shows the comparison of the attendance we had with last year's public meeting with this year's. And last year we had 51 public attendees with a total attendance of 74, including all the panelists. And this year we had 80 public attendees with a total attendance of 105. So we were very pleased with the turnout. Next slide, please. And there were a good number of questions and comments on various topics. And I listed some of the main topics on the slide there, such as the need to shift more funding away from major capacity highway projects to alternative transportation modes, such as transit and bike ped and complete streets and so on. Then we had several questions and comments about the need to expand bus and rail and Sunrail hours of service. Then there was some discussion about the need for more electric vehicle charging stations and for greater mobility equity for people without cars, and how Links is helping to address that issue. And we will be sending a summary of the comments out to this committee and the other committees separately. And then if we can go to the next slide, we had 2 polling questions. And the first one was which of these best describes your transportation personality? And there were 4 options, such as the debater, the advocate, the logistician, and the adventurer. And most people saw themselves as the advocate, of having a vision for the perfect transportation system and working together to come up with, solutions to achieve that. And then if we can go to the next slide, the second question was, where should Central Florida increase spending the most to improve our transportation system? And the vast majority of the votes went to increasing spending to improve transit connections between the bus and rail systems. And then if we can go to the next slide, we had a group of panelists from local jurisdictions and agencies that helped us answer questions during the meeting. And we'd like to thank them for their participation. We really appreciate it. And this TIP will be going to the board for approval at the July 7th meeting. So with that, I will open it up for questions. Looks like Tawny.
Yeah, it's not really a question. I just wanted to, as being part of the panelists, I thought it was a really good discussion. I was really amazed with the number of questions and comments from the participants, some really good questions about, Osceola's work program, just speaking for Osceola, and then a lot of questions for Sunrail. So it just shows that people in the community are really sort of getting engaged in this transportation. I thought MetroPlan staff did a great job with it. So thanks for inviting me to participate.
Thank you for your participation.
Any other questions, comments? Not seeing any hands raised. I think we have a consensus. So our next item is the fiscal year 2026-27 through 35, 36 prioritized project list found in tab 4 of your agenda. Mr. Nick Lepp from MetroPlan Orlando will present the information. Again, please hold your questions until the presentation is finished. Go ahead, Mr. Lepp.
Thank you. Good morning. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So last month we came with a preview of our prioritized project list. That list included the projects ranked based on the performance-based planning requirement, all pivoting from our latest adopted Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Just a reminder for most of you that know, but any new members and anybody listening in from the public, the project priority list is the bridge that gaps our 25-year Metropolitan Transportation Plan vision to the projects that would enter into our Transportation Improvement Program, which you just heard previously from Keith. Next slide, please. So the projects have to have a direct linkage. They have to be identified within the plan and identified as cost feasible within the plan. All the projects within the plan were developed with the support of our regional goals and objectives and really consistent with our board's funding policies, especially with the TMA urbanized area funds that we have. One new element to the prioritized project list this time that you're seeing it than previous years, the prioritized project list can only identify the projects in the first 10 years of the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, whereas previous lists that have been mirrored for the entire cost feasible plan or the entire 20-year vision. Next slide, please. So the goals and objectives that were established within the Metropolitan Transportation Plan also have accompanied performance measures. Those performance measures are used within our performance-based planning prioritization process and assigns a value for each one of these measures. Those measures are aggregated and then identify a ranking for each one of the projects that we've identified as cost feasible. And then the highest ranked project will move forward to be prioritized into the next round of our Transportation Improvement Plan development. Next slide, please. Something that was added to the board after we presented this last month, the board wanted to add a weighting element to our goals and objectives to emphasize certain goals and help meet our targets that are attached to these goals. They advanced safety and security as the highest weighted, access and connectivity, investment to economy, reliability and performance, and health and environment. And that's how they ranked them. But actually the way the weighting went within the process, it was actually inversed. So safety and security got a weight of 5 points, versus health and environment had a weighting of just itself with the values of 1 point. Additionally, the board wanted to add emphasis to the vulnerable road users. So the performance measure that we had for bicycle and pedestrian safety and crashes actually has a double value. So the final version of the prioritized project list and the difference between what you saw last month, which was an unweighted version, everything was ranked equally. This now new weighted version reflects the board's direction to use weighting on the goal areas and also emphasize vulnerable road users. Next slide, please. So just as a quick recap, as I go through the prioritized project list, we have a few new programs that are always going to be at the top of our list. These are funds that we're going to take from the top before we start adding projects. A new program on the state highway and national roadway system is we're going to dedicate $2 million per year for TSMO technology and activities on that national highway system. Though we've had TSMO projects, we've never pulled it out like we have with our TMA programs. Within our TMA programs, we're maintaining some of the ones that we've continued to support, which is our complete streets and data collection that fall under our special studies, as well as our signal retiming and regional TSMO program. But some of the new programs we've added are $1 million for safety emphasis, another $1 million for sidewalk gaps, continuing with our school mobility, but then also $250,000 a year for ACES demonstration projects.